because at the moment I'm getting nothing going on here. Here we go. We've got here. Somebody just do something. Good evening, YouTube. Sorry about that. We've had problems trying to get things to connect and everything, and it's been an absolute nightmare. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm here, and if you're watching on Instagram, I'm here. So, good evening. Hello. Hello, Mark One, Automotive. Nice to see you guys. Or is it Mark One Refinement now? I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's start this evening. So, first of all, we're back in another lockdown. Great. Here we go again. So I thought, why not start sending you some love and do some videos back in again and see where things go. So I'm going to talk about a few bits and pieces and stuff like that, and then we'll go on to a few questions that we've got and bits and pieces, and we'll just go from there, really. It's not going to be massively long tonight because, I don't want you all... Hello, Bobby. I don't want you all just being bored or whatever. So, we'll just do a bit and stuff. But I think the first thing we should talk about is TV show-wise and stuff like that with cars. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a heck of a lot of good stuff actually back on the TV now, which is great considering we've had a lockdown and everything. There wasn't that much film this year with Paul Cowland and Helen Stanley. And I think that's a really good show, actually. There's going to be some really good stuff coming up from what I hear. So that's going to be really good. But what's interesting is the way they filmed it. Obviously, they've got people, if you haven't seen it, it's very cool. They've got, they're basically standing either side of the bonnet of the car, so they're keeping their meter distance. They're not wearing masks, obviously, because they're in a well-ventilated area. But the person who takes the car out for a test drive is just driving it on their own, and then they're getting a phone call at some point after they've had about half an hour's drive or something like that, just to ask them how they're getting on and stuff like that. So you're getting all the stuff still, in depth wise, but without the presenters physically there in the car and stuff. So I think it's a good way of doing it, and it's working well. I'm just going to have a sip of water. So that's going on. Sorry, I'm losing track. It's been a long day and a nightmare with this computer. Anyway, but yes, let's talk, shall we, about some of the things that have changed in the world in the last couple of days. Shall we talk about the big one, the one that is hanging over everyone's head, the one that is it sad or is it good news, Well, in case you're not aware, it's about wheeler dealers. Have you heard the news? It's great news for us guys back in England. We are getting wheeler dealers back in the UK. They're coming back. So no more of these programs filmed in America. Sadly, it does mean that Ant Anstead is no longer going to be doing the show. From what I understand, he will be turning up every so often, flying back to the UK. But I don't know if you've heard, he's married now and he's moved out there and he lives out there now completely. So it's not physically going to work for him. However, what's going to happen instead is our good friend Elvis is going to be doing it instead. And that's Mark, somebody whose name I've completely forgotten. But he's the chap who did the Dream Cars series, if you saw that on Discovery. And I think it's now gone out onto Quest, maybe. They're repeating it at last. But yeah, so yeah, he's doing that now, which is fantastic news. And it's going to be back in the UK, so we're going to see some rusty piles of rubbish again. And it's just going to be great again because we're not going to deal with these cars that aren't, UK spec or European spec even. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the episode with the Ford Mercury, which is actually a Ford Sierra, but it's a XR2, what do they call it? XR4, I think they call those ones. But it's called TI or something, turbo. It's only got a 2.3 litre engine rather than the 2.8 Cosworth turbo engine that we had in the UK. Anyway, so yeah, there's bits and pieces, but that's great news that Wheeler Dealers is coming back, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. I'll be interested to see. Hopefully, it's going to work well. I mean, it worked well with Dream Cars. Sorry, that worked really well. I thought it was a good series, so fingers crossed, it will be good. We talked about motor pickers, and obviously Tiff Needell has got another show back on TV. I don't know if you've been following on YouTube. He's got a show called Love Cars. It's actually done by Mark, whose name escapes me again, his surname. I think it's Mark Woodman, that's it, Mark Woodman. Anyway, so Mark Woodman is has a show, Love Cars, as well. Good evening, Doug. Nice to see you there. Someone else is there I can't see on the thing. There's a few names popping up. And you're watching on Insta. Can someone tell me, can they go on YouTube and just tell me what's the better picture, YouTube or Insta, or are they both pretty good and there's no need to worry about either? Someone let us know. Anyway, but yes, so where was I? Yeah, so Love Cars. It was a YouTube program, and Tiff joined, I think about a year and a half ago, something like that. And it went from strength to strength, and now it's gone on to ITV4, which is fantastic. It's a really good show, actually, and it's on Thursday night. So tomorrow night, I think it's 8 o'clock, the old Top Gear time that used to be back in the day, if you remember when Top Gear used to be on a Thursday evening, which would have been about 98. Good grief. Feeling a bit old now after saying that, but there you go. So, yeah, so that's all going on, which is great. Love Cars, really good show. And he's got some nice presenters as well with it, as well as Tiff and Mark Woodman. So, yeah, that's that. And then what else have we got that's on Car-Wise on TV? We've got World's Greatest Cars. Don't know if you've seen that. That's also on, it's actually exclusive to Quest. So it's on Quest at the moment. So anyone who's got Freeview, you can watch it, easy peasy. And they're doing the greatest cars. And I think the first series was the greatest sports car, which I won't tell you what it was, but it was pretty predictable. Panels of experts and everything. They always seem to have a bit of a iffy, what's the word? It's always the same. It's always the same cars. So no matter how many different series there are, it's always, this is the best sports car, blah, blah, blah. And I just like them to pick something a little bit different, a little bit more, you know, maybe it's not the best, the best looking car or the best driving car, obviously, but it's the best sports car that you can get for the money or something, Why is it always the one that seems to be an all-rounder, ticks all the boxes and keeps everyone happy? But, when I like a sports car, I want something that's got a bit of... Why is it always the one that seems to be an all-rounder, ticks all the boxes and keeps everyone happy? But, when I like a sports car, I want something that's got a bit of soul. And the car that shows, I very much, Doug. That's Insta looks better than YouTube. So YouTube, sorry, but your picture's pretty awful. I think that's going to need a new webcam, which we'll be investing in soon. So yeah. Anyway, so that's that's World's Greatest Cars. That's on. What did I say it was? I've completely forgot now. Brain's going dead tonight. Honestly, it's been a long day. World's Greatest Cars is on Quest at the moment, so that's good. And if you've got Discovery Plus and you're paying for the extra subscription service, you can now watch the second episode already, and that is on hatchbacks. Not hatchbacks. What am I on about? Hot hatches, not just hatchbacks. So the question is obviously, what makes the best hatchback? Now, I've watched the program, I know what the winner is, but let's not worry about that. Let's just talk about the fact, especially if you haven't, let's talk about actually what makes a good hot hatch. Is it lightness? Is it power? Or is it just all-round drivability? The way that you can chuck something around. Because let's be honest, there's some great hot hatches out there that aren't really that quick, but quicker than the standard car. However, just feel great, nice, light, nimble. They're not going to win any serious races, but they're going to be fun to drive. And I think that's what a hot hatch is all about. It's about fun to drive. It's not always about top-end speed, a hot hatch. The idea is that you do your supermarket shopping in it, but also you can go out on the country lanes and have a blast down some B roads and really enjoy driving. So, should the hot hatch be the high-performance car that's ridiculously powerful, but, I don't know, not light and nimble? And I think light and nimble and good steering feedback is what you want in a car. Should it be what it is? Who knows? Anyway, I'm not going to tell you what the answer is because that would just give it away, what they decided to choose. And so shall we talk about the other big one that's going on? And that has to be cars. Oh, thanks, Doug. What's that? Playfulness and front-wheel drive, four-wheel drive is a hyper hatch and stupid. I agree with that, actually. I like a four-wheel drive car, but when it comes to hot hatches, I mean, let's be honest, the Focus ST, RS. Now, that is four-wheel drive technically, but they put more power to the rear, so it's more like a rear-wheel drive car. I think it's 60-40, so it's quite a good split. So you do get a feel that it's more real drive when you're driving it. You can hang the back end out or hang the arse out, as some people say. But you can get a good. It's a good car to drive. But you know, it's turboed, it's big, it's heavy. You know, it weighs quite a bit. So is this really what we want in a hot hatch? I'm not sure. I think hot hatches maybe need to be light, nimble. You know, and also my ideal hot hatch, in my opinion, is actually something that doesn't feel like it's held together that well. It sounds weird, but if it's nice and light and almost like a tin can feel, I think they're better. I mean, let's look at the Renault 5 Turbos. They were great cars when they were working. Let's be honest. Let's not beat about the bush. Not the most reliable cars in the world, but when they were working on a good dry day, you were hammering that thing around, and it felt great and it looked great. That was the other thing. Really stood out, you know, especially if you had a Gordon Clio 172 and the 182s. Great little nippy cars, great track day cars still to this day. However, then we move on to the later car, nippy cars, and you know, they're a bit bigger, a bit fatter. Are they so much fun to drive anymore? I'm not sure. And that's the question in a hot hatch. What does make a good hot hatch? Anyway, let's go back to this serious matter with the fact that they are banning petrol and diesel cars as of 2030. Just double check that. Yep, that's less than 9 years, less than 10 years away. You know, it's ridiculous. So you won't be able to buy. It doesn't mean you can't still drive one. It just means you won't be able to buy one anymore. And does that mean us petrol heads? Well, obviously we're going to have to come up with a new name. But at the same time, does that mean us petrol heads aren't going to be able to get a kick and buzz that we get from fuel? I mean, I've driven a lot of electric cars. I mean, the Tesla's ridiculously powerful, you know. But the question is, and, you know, the torque factor is just ridiculous. But there's something about having an engine. There's something about that petrol, that combustion, that sort of, I think it's almost, what's the word? It just works. I don't know how to describe it. It's just engineering. It's all mechanical. I love that sort of thing. With the electric motors, I'm not so sure about, but maybe I'm a dying art. Maybe, you know, we're all dying out now. It has to be to you. Why are people still buying Ferraris from the 60s and Aston Martins and stuff like that? You know, if it is dying out, you know, there are younger people still driving high performance cars from years ago. You know, classics with big petrol engines. So, is this a good thing? I'm not sure. And also, where are we going to stand with taxing it? That's the next question. You know, are they going to tax per mile? Which is fine if you tax per mile, but it's always been taxed on fuel. So with fuel, you get taxed on how much petrol you put in it. So if you have an efficient car, you obviously don't use as much fuel as someone who's got a massive gas guzzler. So if you decide to buy a V8 and want to chuck tons of fuel in it, 100 quid a time for 250 miles, 300 miles of a tank, then that's your choice. Or you can buy something that's uber efficient with 70 mpg and cost you 20 quid to run. You know, but it's your choice. And it's all, I think it's been quite a fair way, because, you know, if you decide to have a high performance car, you've got to pay for it. And that's fair enough. If you want to have a high performance car and not pay so much for it, don't use it so often. You know, there are all these things. But what are we doing? You know, is this going to work? Because if you're electric and you buy a high performance electric car, yeah, you're probably not going to get as many miles per gallon. Not miles, but miles per charge to it if you're driving it like a nutter. But at the same time, you're still going to be taxed the same amount of electricity as somebody who's putting in electricity to another vehicle. And, you know, you're going to be taxed on kilowatt hours or whatever out of the battery. I just don't know. But it's an interesting one. Obviously, they'll work something out, because, you know, the government's not going to lose out on money, are they? Whatever. They're just not going to lose out on money. So there'll be something to do. But yeah, it's a very weird situation that we're in with that. And I just don't know. What's this here? Engines breathe and are alive. Electrics are appliances. Yes, Doug, agreed with you there 100%. That is very, very true indeed. They are. You know, this is the problem. When I drove a Tesla, it was a lovely car, but it's a weird feeling. It is a physical car, as it were, but it's that whoosh, the whiny noise you get from the motor or the gearbox, whatever it is, but something is whining awake all the time. It's a bit off-putting. I've spoke to blind, and, you know, and emitting noise at least out of these things. Ideally, for us petrol heads, it'll be a V8 engine sound or something, or a V6, or we'll want a decent noise from it. I mean, let's be honest, quite a lot of us would be quite happy with a nice, like, Alfa Romeo sounding engine, or a Ferrari engine. We want a nice V12, maybe. That'd be nice. A nice V12 over the top of your electric engine. Who knows? But something's going to have to happen. But yeah, I know what you mean, what you're saying about the, engines breathe, they feel alive. With electric, it is just like an appliance. I mean, when I drove the Tesla, I did think to myself, it does feel like a very expensive washing machine. It's that sort of thing. It's a means to an end. It gets you from A to B. Yes, it gets you there ridiculously quick. Yeah, it handles all right, but does it handle as well as a petrol car? Probably not, because the weight distribution they've got pretty good, but there's so much weight with those batteries. So you're not ever going to get go. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? It's going to be a very, very odd one. Where we're going to go with this, I've no idea. I mean, it's a worry. Does it look really dark, Doug? Sorry, I've just seen your message come up through live chat of YouTube looks dark compared to Insta, and thank you for that. Appreciate it. Just out of interest, if anybody is watching on YouTube, did it go straight through to this live, or is my live one still waiting? Because I've no idea anymore what's going on. But there you go. Good evening, Harry. Just seeing you pop up too. But yeah, so yeah, electric is where we're at. And oddly enough, Harry's just joined, knows quite a bit about electric, so I'm sure he's well up for joining into this thing. But yeah, 2030, no more petrol cars, no more diesel cars made. What's going to happen there? Don't know. What I'd be interested to see is the rest of the world going to follow suit, and are they also going to bring theirs down? Or are people going to be doing dodgy things like going abroad where they're still going to be making them and, buying in petrol cars especially, and then, importing them into the country? How's that going to go? Just don't know. But like I say, with electric cars, I like the way they drive in the performance way, but I just think it just feels like a washing machine. And I'm sorry, I really do. I just feel it's very washing machine feel to it. It's just, yeah, it just gets you from A to B. That's all there is to it. So yeah, that's where I am with petrol cars. Oh, sorry, no, I really am losing it tonight. I tell you honestly, I'm shattered. But I was not going to not let you guys down. So yeah, so let's open the Insta, shall we? Let's open Instagram up to any questions or anything you want to talk about. Anything that grinds your gears. While you're typing and stuff, let me just tell you about something that really wound me up on the way back tonight, that really, really annoyed me. And this is people who decide to use their smartphones in the car as maps and whatever else. Turn your brightness down. It's dark outside. The brightest thing on your car was your tablet lighting up the entire car. How the heck you could see where you were going? I've no idea. Good evening, Matt from MRF. Photomotive. Nice to see you, mate. That's my partner in crime when it comes to all our videos that we've been doing recently. And there'll be a new one coming out very soon, hopefully. Once this lockdown situation eases a bit more, lapses a bit more, we'll be able to film some more stuff. So good evening, Matt. Nice for the way. Thanks, mate. So yeah, that's what we're going to say, really. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So that really, really annoys me. Like I say, with people having their tablets way too bright. Where was I? Yeah, so that really, really annoys me. Like I say, with people having their tablets way too bright. It's so distracting bright. To go to Halfords, and people would buy blue LED lights, but not just bulbs. They buy them on a wire that then plugged into a cigarette lighter, and then they could light up their dashboard. And then they would go, instantly, my Vauxhall Corsa that was yellow interior lights, dashboard lights, and now all blue. And that's really cool. That's real Fast and the Furious now, back in the early 2000s. The only problem is one of my mates did that, had it plugged into the cigarette lighter, and we're driving back one evening. And it took him about 20 minutes to realise that his lights weren't on because he'd lit up the dashboard. So he thought his lights were on. We were driving down the road, and I said, I think your lights should be on. He goes, oh, no, they are, definitely. No, they're not. I said, no, they are. Well, why is none of the center console lit up with anything, and all this stuff? And then he realised he had completely left them off. But there you go. Anyway, so yeah, who wants to say something tonight? Anything want to be said? By the way, that thing about the fuel cars and everything, that was by Check Engine, so I'll just give you a quick mention there, guys. Doing well. If you haven't checked out Check Engine yet, you should definitely get over to their page and have a look. They are fantastic with what they're doing. He's got a lot of videos out there now, and the MX-5 is coming on well. And he's also got a Calibra, which I'm a big fan of, and hoping to do a collaboration video with you at some point, looking at that Calibra, because it's one of those 90s classics that when I first started driving, they were around, but people weren't really using them so much. They were. You either had the executive who was still driving one because he decided to keep it as his company car, or you had the boy racers who were picking them up because they'd become dirt cheap. They were rusty as anything because the bottom seals had gone. They were awful, but they were picking them up cheap, patching them up. Didn't have enough money to run them, let's be honest, especially the turbo cars. And they were just driving them and destroying them. And quite a few of them got max powered as well. A lot of them ended up in the scrapyards because they were that bad. So, there was a lot of things there going on. But he's restoring this Calibra, so fingers crossed it's all going to come up lovely. Nice to see it. And Calibra again, it'd be nice to see because, have I sold the Rover yet? Shall we talk about it? We'll do it quickly. The Rover is up for sale from the video that you saw recently. It's not because I don't love it. I do love it. I've just decided that I've got too many cars and it's time to get rid of one. So it is up for sale. Yes, I have a few people interested. Due to lockdown, though, they can't come to view at the moment, which is completely understandable. But yes, it is up for sale. And so if you are interested, you can always DM me, whatever, and I'll let you know the details if you're interested. But it is actually for sale, yes. And it's a ridiculously low price, I have to say. But I can't be bothered with doing the rest of the stuff on it now. I've just got to the point where it's a lovely car. It drives great. I've had my teenage kicks, remembered what they're like to drive and everything. And now it's time to move it on. So, yeah. And also it means I can focus the money on other things. What's this? The Calibra DTM car was great looking race car. Wow. Yes, it was. I'd love to pop up a picture right now, but I can't do that because I've got everything running at the moment. But yes, great looking car. Great looking car was this. Sorry, mate, you have to excuse me. I've got the screen sort of in a weird position, so I have to read down. What do you think of the new Defender? Oh. How long have we got this evening, guys? You want to talk about the Defender? I'll talk about the Defender. I think it looks great, but it does look like a natural progression from the Defender, but like 5 generations time. So it looks like the Defender finished, and then there should have been another 4 or 5, but at the same time looks familiar from the family and everything. It's a bit like, in a way, it's a bit like the Fiat 500. It's like the 60s Fiat 500, and then they brought out the new Fiat 500. You can see it's from the same family and the same genes and everything, but it's got bigger, bulkier, and everything like that. And they've done the same with the Defender. Obviously, it's a better made car and everything, but they are massively missing the point. Yeah, completely missing the point. At the end of the day, it's a farm vehicle. If you want a luxury off-road vehicle, you buy the Range Rover. If you want a vehicle for your farm to run around and chuck your animals in the back, your sheep, whatever you want to do, you buy a Land Rover and you buy a Discovery. Not Discovery, Defender. What am I on about? You buy a Defender. So why are you selling Defenders that have got, arrival mode? Let's talk about that. Push a button and the thing drops down to the floor so you can get out. Arrival mode. You're driving a Defender. It's a utility vehicle. There's too much going on with it, massively. And this is why, if you've got an old Defender, get it off the road, get it sorted, get it off the road, get it in storage, keep it well away from anybody who's going to nick it, because they are being stolen like anything right now. But get it away and put it away. If you've got a low mileage one, just get it off the road and leave it off the road, because I promise you, they're worth massive money. They're already going up massively, but they are great vehicles, and you know, people will want them. They're always going to be. Now they're classed as classics. You know, even the final editions, which was what, 2006 or 7, was it? Something like that. So you know, they're you know, no, it's later than that. It was 2012, wasn't it? I think. Someone remind me. I can't remember. What's this? Can you see where the modern regulations have taken its toll on the looks? Yeah, it's not as pretty as the old one, is it? And let's be honest, it was a utility vehicle. It should have never been pretty. But this one, yeah, there's a lot of modern safety regulations. You can see in the shape of it, bits and pieces. There's no bits that stick out, and you can't get, you know, harpooned by the side of it or whatever. Fair enough. But I don't know, really. I just think it's a bit, I don't know. I just don't really think it's what it's, you know, it's too much money. It's a car of the people, a Land Rover. And I'm just going to call it a Land Rover because, you know, everyone knows what I'm talking about when you say the word Land Rover, you know. And I think that's a Land Rover. It's a Land Rover. You know, there's nothing to, you know, you got a Land Rover. You immediately tell someone you got a Land Rover. There's like 3 things you can be. You're either a farmer, you're either a city person who wants a Land Rover because they live in the country at the weekends but drives into work every day in their Land Rover, or you're someone who just really loves Land Rovers and is an enthusiast and will have one regardless. They're the three tick boxes as far as I'm concerned for a Land Rover owner. There's nothing else. You know, you either use it for what it's designed for, you're using it as a Chelsea tractor, or you might have a place in the country or whatever. But at the same time, you know, or you're a massive enthusiast and you drive one because you want a Land Rover. Fair enough. But I don't know. I mean, the new Land Rover appeals to curbside appeal. If you want to drive it to school every day with your kids and everything, fine, great, excellent. But it's not what it's really for, you know, and it's just over-engineered and costs too much for the people who really need them, like the farmers and stuff like that, who actually will want to use them. And it's so nice, you don't want to trash it. When an old Land Rover, even if it was brand new, it had vinyl seats and everything. Okay, you could upgrade to leather, but you know, you had the vinyl seats. You weren't fast. It was a utility vehicle, and you could wash it out. You know, these just not. I mean, you can apparently wash these new ones out, but I don't know. I just don't really like them that much, to be honest with you. Anyway, so yeah, what's this? You 3, 4. Oh, he's dropped up. Hold on. 3, 4, 3, 4. Wait a minute. Oh, excuse my language. This is just a ridiculous thing here. What have we got here? Has anyone mentioned the new BMW SUV? Horrendous. Yep, that's a word I can use on it, definitely. At least it makes up for the new 3-4 series. Look better. Okay, you two just have a conversation between yourselves then. Yeah. Shall we talk about this grille? What is going on? Honestly, who wants a big grille on the front of their car? Who? It's like that. The front of it is just ridiculous. You know, sorry, YouTube viewers. It's massive. It's massive. It's got absolutely ridiculous. So why we? I've no idea. I've no idea what they're thinking. I mean, I think we should go the other way. I think I've been saying this for a long time now. You know, let's go back to small kidney grills. Why doesn't BMW just, you know, they can have a big mouth at the bottom if they want for a big intake, you know, like on the older cars, we got a big old mouth in the front bumper, fine. And then just have small kidney grills. We don't want ridiculous kidney grills, okay? It's ridiculous, you know. It looks like a car on cocaine where all the nose has fallen out, you know, and gone massive. It's not good. It's not good. It's not right for a car. And it's awful. BMW, I'm going to appeal to you on YouTube, and I'm going to appeal to you. You've lost it. You've absolutely lost it. Your best design, still to this day, in my opinion, where your cars were still looking beautiful, was this beauty here. Okay? This is the E46, first design of it. And look, it's signed by the chap who actually designed it. He signed it. See, there it is. You can see it there. It's signed by the guy who actually designed the car. And that is it. That is a beautiful design. You know, natural E36. It's just lovely. It's perfect. And I don't know what they've done. Oh, God. I don't know what they've done. For you on YouTube, you can't see. It's just fallen out of the box. I forgot I hadn't screwed it back in after I had it out the other day for my son. Yeah, it's just over there. Anyway, yeah, it's a beautiful design. It's a great looking car, the E46, and I believe the M3 E46 is great. You know, the same period of the 5 Series, great looking car. They sort of lost their way a bit later. I mean, I've got an E61. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like the front of it. I thought it was too aggressive, too many sharp lines. It's now on me, I get that. But I don't think these big grille cars ever will. They just look like something that's driven through Halfords. And, you know, I don't know if you remember these times, but we used to have a point where we went to, you know, you used to go to Halfords and you could buy chrome mesh. I don't know if you still can. Can you still buy that in Halfords? In the Rip Speed section? Rip Speed, do you remember that? And you buy chrome mesh and you'd go out to your car, and if you had a sort of grille on it, you'd smash all the plastic out and then put your chrome mesh in, because that made your car look cool. Had a bit of chrome on the front. Classy. All of a sudden, your Fiesta or your Rover or, I mean, what else can I think of? Honda. All of a sudden, it was a proper classy car because it looked like a Mercedes or a BMW and it had a chrome grille. You know, and now it's really, it reminds me of those massive sunglasses that you get, you know, from on holidays, those massive, big, old, you know, Wayfarers that are this size that you know that you used to wear on holiday for a joke, you know, on like do you remember those dancing flowers that had those massive sunglasses? I don't know. You've lost it with the grille, guys. I'm sorry. I've lost it entirely. The respect for BMW new cars has gone massively. Now, what are you guys saying here? Because my phone's gone absolutely mental with loads of stuff going up as I'm talking. So let's see. For a minute, this won't even roll. What's going on here? Right. So Doug has said. So let's see. For a minute, this won't even roll. What's going on here? Right. So Doug has said. Their way of dealing with people complaining about the new style is interesting. They answer things like, "You don't like change, boomer." I love it. What's this? The old Celicas came with stainless, didn't they? The old Celicas came with stainless. Are you referring to the? I meant the lower mesh vents. Sorry. Oh, I see. Are you referring to my photo of my GT4 from back in the day when it had a mesh grille in it? Is that what you're talking about? No, they came the standard mesh at the front. The front grille was actually black, and it wasn't. It was it made of plastic? I think it was. You had a mesh. You had a mesh grille on the top of the bonnet. I meant the lower vent mesh. The lower vent. So no. So the very bottom didn't have a mesh grille. It had a black grille with the 2 fog lights sticking in it. It wasn't mesh at all. And then you had the little grille in the actual bonnet between the lights. That was, I think it was plastic. I sprayed mine because when I bought it, they were red. Oh, it's awful. But yeah, that was plastic. The only bit that was metal was the actual grille on the bonnet. That, you know, you could fry a burger on if you got the turbo nice and hot. It cooked beautifully. But that grille was metal, but that wasn't chrome. That was black as well. It was all black. They, you know, if they were chrome, that's because someone else made them chrome. So no is the answer to that, Matt, I'm afraid. But yes, I did when I first bought it have a mesh chrome grille on it because there was no actual way of fitting the fog lights, the original plastic grille back at first, because some idiot took it out to put a massive front mount intercooler on it to make it look really cool. Watch this. Message you a photo later. Should clear that up. He's messaged me a photo. Let's see if I can find a photo. Oh, he hasn't sent me a photo now. Never mind. Anyway, so yes, there's that. So yes, we're talking about the BMW and the grills and stuff. So yeah, no, it's just ridiculous the size of the BMW. Absolutely ridiculous the size of the grill. So yeah, I'm not a massive fan at all. Not good. So anyone else got anything else to say that they think of that we need to talk about? We should. I mean, there's loads of bits and pieces, isn't there? It's ridiculous. There should be loads of stuff to talk about. Really, we've all been doing stuff to our cars, I hope. Doug, I know you a bit, so let's ask you a question and see what you replied to. Have you still got your BN M3 36 like we were talking about? Feel free to reply. But yeah, what's this? The new Yaris rally thing. Yes, let's talk about that. Thank you, Doug. Let's definitely talk about that. So, if you don't know what I'm on about the GP. What is it called? Not GP, GR, which GR Yaris. That's what they're calling it. And GR4 Yaris, and it's nice to see the word 4, just like the GT4 badge, back again. As far as I'm concerned, snap off the R, leave the G on it, GR on it. Yeah, it's GR. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, the GR4 badge is what they're calling it. A GR4. Snap off the G and put as done from Car Pervert. I don't know if you ever watched that, but he's done a video on it all, and he's talked about the fact that all the bits and pieces about the car, and then he talks about this new 4-wheel drive system and how fantastic it is and everything. It's the exact same 4-wheel drive system that was on the GT4 back in 1995. This is the same one that was on the ST205. So it's not new. It's exactly the same. It's the first time you've seen it on a Yaris. They've obviously made it slightly smaller and stuff. You've got the cabby. Nice one to see that you've still got it. What's this? She's in mothballs. Oh dear. Gaining value. Good for you, mate. Good for you. They are the next ones on the up, these 330s, definitely. Because, if you've got Club Sport, you obviously know they've already got 330. Are the next ones to go up after. Now the M3s are getting out of reach, and the Club Sports are now becoming harder to get hold of as well. Good ones anyway for the money. So now, yeah, your 330 cabby will be definitely going up in value soon, for definite. But yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, so it's the same car, this GR4. It's basically it's GT4, but in a tiny little Yaris. So I cannot wait to get my hands on one. I'm going to be test driving one as soon as possible. I'm actually talking with Toyota at the moment about it. So we want to do that definitely when they come over. Well, I don't know if they've actually come over yet. They're coming soon. So, there we go. Oh, we've got Emily's here. Hello, Emily. Good evening. A female car girl. Fantastic to have somebody else on here. So this new GR4, cool car. I think it's going to be a good car to drive. So I can't wait to get that sorted and do a video on that when we test drive. Once this lockdown thing's over, so I'm sure that'll be in the new year. We'll get around to taking that for a test drive and seeing what she's like. Great car. I think to be honest with you, it's the first car in a long time that I've actually thought about spending my own money on and buying a brand new Toyota, because I love the Toyota GT4. Still to this day, you probably saw my post on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, that I still think it stands up to this day, and against much better cars money-wise. A GT4 now, a good one, you're looking at 8 to 10 grand now for a good one. I sold mine 2-3 years ago now, 4 years ago now, just before my son was born. And I sold it for stupid amount of money, ridiculous. Anyway, we won't go into that. But yeah, they're great cars, handle well, performance is ridiculous. A little bit of tweaking the turbo and stuff, you can get some great power out of that thing. The gearbox is good for 800 horsepower, mental. So well over-engineered, Toyota, well done. And it's, an ST185 does look better. However, an ST185 engine is not as good as the ST205 engine, which is blooming bulletproof. So you go and buy your ST185 and then put a 205 engine in it to get the best of both worlds out of it. But no, the ST205 was my favourite car. I just loved it. The way it handled. I never ever got bored of driving it. I never got tired driving it. I drove it all the way down to Cornwall one year, and I didn't stop. I filled it up with fuel. I started up. I drove it. I pulled into a service station for some food. I didn't even get out of the car. I just went into a drive-through, grabbed something to eat, and carried on. I didn't stop. I just drove the whole thing, and it was on the A303 on the way home. And you know those roads at night, fantastic, great drive. Yes, it's got pop-up headlights, Doug, and that's cool. Fair enough. But there's something about the 205 that I just prefer. Maybe it's because it was in Sega Rally. Maybe that's why I prefer the 205. At the time, I could have, in case you're not sure what's going on. First of all, why you're not sure about these cars. If you're a car guy, you should know this stuff. But it was built in 94 onwards to about 90. I think the actual model of the GT4 finished in 96, 97. However, they ran it right through to 99 before they then changed the model of the Toyota. So you can get the standard 202s, I believe they call them, with the 2 litres or the 1.8s. You can still get them all the way up to 2000, I think it is. They ran them 99, 2000, yeah. So you can get them on a T-Reg or something, I think it's the last plate. Or VE, if you might be able to get them on. Anyway, but yeah. So, that's my opinion. I go 5. But yeah, it's a great car, and it stands up to today. It's old school driving. A lot of people will say to me when they used to drive it, they go, it's very old-fashioned driving, old school feel to it. It is an old school feel, but it's it's a 90s rally car, and they are, and it's a bit more old-fashioned. But I personally prefer that because I've got, I'm connected to the road. I've got power assisted steering, power steering. I think there's power. Yeah, it's just pump on that one. But I know that this steering wheel is physically connected to these wheels, sort of thing. So I actually feel it's better than electronic driving and all that stuff. And it's a nice weight to it. It's not too heavy for parking, but it's great for when you go in at speed. It tightens up. It feels taller. It's great. I just loved it. It was just such a good car, and I'm going to get another one at some point. But going back to where I'm going off, because I'm going off on a tangent now, the GT4, this new Toyota Yaris GR Yaris 4, if it's as good as they're saying it is, and Johnny, I'll say from Car Pervert, is really, Johnny Smith, his name is really, really on it about what he's saying about this car. If it's as good as he's describing, which I like to say I can't wait to test drive, I will actually put my money where my mouth is and buy one, because why not? Why not just get one? If it's going to be like a GT4, but a brand new GT4, but in a lighter, smaller car, it's going to be such a great car to drive, so nimble, so fun, why not? That's what I say anyway. So pop-up headlights. Oh no, that's what you said a minute ago, Doug. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm in MR2 as well, and it's spree, because why the heck not? Pop-up headlights. I love pop-up headlights. Me and pop-up headlights. Something that really they should bring back on cars, but obviously they can't due to all the crash regulations and everything. But yeah, it's definitely something that I love. These pop-up headlights, just something cool about those lights popping up. Just cool, retro, and no need for it. Absolutely no need whatsoever. But they just look so cool. And also, it doesn't spoil the lines of the car when they're down. Really nice lines of that car. You don't have to have these big, ugly headlights on display all the time, which I think is really nice. Anyway, but yeah. So is there anything else anyone wants to talk about that we can think of that needs to be discussed? Anything at all we want to talk about? Let me just check my cards for the stuff I've got here. I had some car stories, but somehow I've managed to delete the emails. Not the email, what's the word? The bit I put together. It's been a long day. Let me just be honest with you. It's been a completely long day. going to say? Yeah. Oh, yeah. About stuff like that. Let's talk about YouTube and where we think things are going with YouTube. Obviously, during definite I am. And my question has to be, how much longer